Okay, gents. So it has been a little bit of a while since we last played. So, in terms of a slight recap, um, you have been in Blackwater Creek for a few days now, coming up to a week, and during that time, you've been exploring the local area, and there have been some strangeness that has been happening as you've been searching for Professor Henry Rhodes. The last episode that we played, you managed to find your way into a cave whereby you were deeply disturbed, having found that Henry's wife had merged into the cave itself, and what we kind of realized is that parts of her were drifting into the water itself. You only just made it out as you had escaped full on sprinting after dynamiting the cave. And if I remember rightly, Obadiah had whacked his head so hard he was being sick as you
Yes.
had just gotten out of the cave. We're roughly about 10:30 in the morning, and you have just finished exhaustingly destroying the Earth's Womb cave.
Because that's what we're calling it.
Yeah, and that's
what it's called.
and that is where we'll pick up.
Okay.
As far as I remember, we were going to go home and sleep. Because that was horrific.
I had 4 wounds left and I was going mad, so yeah.
I literally got knocked out, have a concussion, and I'm on 1 hit point. So, as far as I'm aware, the world is made of candy right now.
Yeah.
So, like, how does healing work in this? I can't remember.
Healing is a lot more difficult than it is as you would expect. You need actual proper medicine to regain any type of hit points, but over time it does come back naturally. But you will need physical medicine and equipment to heal yourself back up.
Okay, so basically going and resting is going to do nothing basically for my health.
You will get a small amount back.
Seems,
and
I don't,
considering what's happened,
like 100% like Obadiah wants to go and rest.
I mean, it's what we should do, right?
Yeah.
Because even if you get 1 HP back, that's doubling your HP.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
it's worth it no matter what we do, as long as we get something back. If we get nothing back, then fuck it, may as well just go for it.
I would just double check for you.
Okay, it's got to be all Butch and Sundance, that, hasn't it?
And I guess for the benefit of the stream, what we're planning on doing after that is go to the can't remember what the farm's called.
Carmody.
We're going there because apparently the weird slug woman inside the cave said her husband had been taken there.
Which is very helpful of her as a weird slug woman in a cave. Almost like we maybe shouldn't have dynamited her.
You don't get lots of visitors though, do you? So you're going to talk to people when you arrive.
So in relation to, you can first aid each other if you have first aid equipment, and that will gain 1 point, and you can push the roll, or use 2 people to gain slightly more than that if you succeed. If you use actual medicine, you get 1d3 hit points.
Okay, well, should we go see if they have any actual medicine anywhere?
I think we should go to the shop and ask if they have any actual medicine.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, can we have some medicine before we go raid your friends?
Yeah.
Is that
Please,
actual
sir,
medicine?
I would like some actual medicine.
So I'll bring you back onto the Blackwater Creek itself. As I mentioned, it is 10:30, sort of in the morning, and I suppose your ears are still ringing from the explosions. You're still slightly disorientated, not entirely sure what you've just been through or witnessed, especially for you, Charles, having known Henry's wife. Making sense of that is particularly difficult, and only really recently coming back to your senses as you were so terrified. So yeah, where would you like to go and how would you like to do it?
Back to the Jarvie farm.
Okay.
We'll literally retrace our steps, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, could you tell me which way you're going?
I believe we should definitely go back to the Java farm.
We went along the river last time
Yeah,
until we hit the
following the
fence.
creek to the bridge and then going round that way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because when we went through the trees tried to kill us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see my blue trail.
You can. It's further
Yeah.
along. We hit the fence.
We hit the fence, but I don't think we'd want to hit the fence this time on the way back, given that we know that the Carmodys have dear Henry.
I'm also not entirely sure if we want to go into the village and so like imagine this, right? You've woken up, it's about 9 o'clock or something, and you really hate outsiders. Suddenly, there's a loud explosion somewhere off in the distance, and 3 random strangers come up to you and say, "Hi, can we have some medicine? By the way, one of my friends fell over in a cave somewhere." You're probably not going to be overly happy.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, Evelyn. I think we should probably just go straight back to the Java farm, see if they have any medicine, or if they would be so kind as to go into town for us.
Yeah, I think that's probably the call, instead of doing it ourselves.
I would agree.
Okay. So it is not difficult to retrace your steps as you've almost made a clear path within the tall grass, and it's not that difficult a terrain to get back to. It takes time, so it takes you sort of about an hour and a half, bring you sort of up to midday to make it back to the boundary of the Jarby farm. There is again no specific gap in the fence for you to get through, but as you're doing this, could you all roll a extreme listen?
Extreme.
I mean, I can roll it.
Oh, I clicked the button. I didn't have it.
Unfortunately, I can't even pass a normal.
Oh, it happened.
Okay.
Oh, that's weird. The delay on that was ridiculously
Lag a
late.
bit. Okay, so you can't hear anything other than the sound of kind of that you have been used to as you've been going, as you leave sort of the creek. There's no sounds coming back from the cave, and there is nothing other than the rustle of the wind in the tall grass as you go through.
Good. We have solved this mystery.
So you get back to the boundary of the Jarvie farm, and again, it is a incredibly, I was going to say incredibly tall, but it is a fence with no sty to get through.
Just climb over it like we did last time.
Yeah.
Can't remember what check we had to make.
It was a climb check.
I don't think we.
It was a climb check.
It's not like a. Is it a threat?
No, it's not. But I suppose it'd be useful just to maybe roll one with advantage, just see if you get over
Which one?
easily. Climb.
Climb.
I didn't mean to roll that twice. I think I fail.
Yeah.
No worries.
Everyone's failing.
So after the exhaustion of what you've just been through, you get over, but it takes a considerable amount of effort to do so. Falling over to the other side, you kind of realise just how worn out you are. Just kind of that extra little bit of exercise is kind of making you pant. You're hot in this heat, and it's uncomfortable. But for the first time, maybe in the last 4 or 5 hours, you felt slightly safe.
Sounds great.
I won't lie. I could surely sit here all day. All I need is someone to bring me some of that lemonade I love.
If you're lucky, Jarvis might have some.
I would love that. Still sitting down, like back against the fence, like unable to move.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull you.
So you end up sort of behind the hay barn as you've clambered over the fence. The farm itself seems to be unreasonable.
What's that music?
That is autoed, and I don't know why.
I was like, what's happening at the farm?
Well, I'm climbing back over that fence, and I'm not coming back.
We appear to be in World War II.
Give it 3 days, and I might come back. I'm gonna go lay down in the grass.
So
Is
yeah,
there
so you
any
end up behind.
obvious sounds or
No, the farm
things?
seems to be running as usual. It seems reasonably quiet and unattended to. It doesn't look as though anyone is pottering about looking after the animals, but the sound of the animals is as per usual. Chickens clucking, pigs making their way through the mud and snuffling through the dirt, and occasionally a moo comes through. Could someone with the highest spot hidden roll a spot hidden for me, please?
Fuck's sake.
Okay.
Spot hidden 65.
No, it's still,
no.
it's still open.
Okay.
Yep.
Nothing seems out of place, and everything seems as it was when you left earlier this morning.
I'm gonna quickly talk to the other two. Guys, I think we should probably not disclose the condition of the wife. I think we should definitely say we found her dying.
Would it not be easier to have found her dead?
I mean, maybe, but then we've got to explain how we know the husband's in the other farm.
We
There wasn't
could
one.
always say there was a cave in, rather than we don't have to say that we exploded it.
No, definitely not.
The dynamite was already there.
That's more meaning we shouldn't say that she's a slug.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very offensive thing to call another woman, Evelyn.
I think that maybe we just say that it's how hard the day has been and that we need to rest. Looking at Obadiah, they're going to see.
Yeah,
they're going to see that you. Yeah. I think they'll understand that.
I hope they will. Fine, you take the lead. I'm just going to be quiet because, quite frankly, my head's still hurting. My head is ringing like a bell at a boxing ring.
Let's go in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you make your way over to the farmhouse, I suppose it's only a matter of minutes before sort of the ringing in your ears finally stops, and you realise sort of just how quiet things were in comparison. It almost feels as though something was missing now that that's gone. And as you get up to sort of the farmhouse, you can see Mr. Jarvis sat there smoking a pipe out on his rocking chair on the deck. Boys, back mighty early.
There was a cave in at the cave. Do you have any actual medicine?
And he looks at you as there's this flurry of information, and it's as he's kind of you almost sort of see the wheels turning, and he's like, I thought we saw something up there. Actual medicine? What's that London for?
I just hobble forwards.
Well, Obadiah and myself and Evelyn have had a rather rough day. We barely made it out of the cave, and we was hoping that you had some medical supplies that we may be able to use to see if we can do things. Obadiah, in particular, is in rather rough condition.
He kind of looks at you and can see sort of just how pale you're looking at the minute. The ever such slight of vomit on your shirt. And he gets up from his chair reasonably quickly, and puts one arm underneath you. He's like, Edith's got to be around here somewhere. I'm sure she'll have something. And he starts to lead you in, not necessarily even noticing if Evelyn or Charles is following. As he leads you through the door with sort of the fly
Sure. As he's like carrying me, I'm just like, thank you, Mr. Jarvie. Some insane bastard left dynamite by the bucket load in the mouth of the cave, and all it took was the briefest of interactions with the rocks there, and everything went up. And well, now you can see my current state.
Could you roll a fast talk? Would it be fast talk? Persuade. I'll let you have a persuade on it.
Persuade.
And as he has already seen that there has been an explosion, I'll give you advantage on it.
Just as well, because you're dead.
No.
No. So as he's walking you in, you notice sort of just for a considerably old man, he is pretty wiry tough. You know, he's got the majority of your weight. He's helping you through, and he doesn't necessarily respond to what you're saying. He's kind of oddly quiet, and he sort of helps move you in and puts you down on the sofa and lays you sort of 3/4 of the way out so that your shoes aren't on the sofa, but you're halfway spread out.
Sure.
And he potters off to go and find Edith.
Sure. I do my best to sit up and take off my boots.
Okay.
We'll just sit around them then.
Yeah, I'd slump into a chair, head in hands, just trying to process what had happened previously.
Okay.
I mean, are we not gonna talk about this?
Why would you want to? Like, what is there to talk about?
I checked his surroundings to see if anybody's within earshot.
You can hear footsteps coming through the kitchen.
I look back at you and I'm just like, oh, later. We can talk about it later. But...
Okay. And sort of Edith comes through. Again, sort of she's got her pinny on, reasonably plump, sort of walking through. And she comes straight over to you and sort of almost gets almost too up in your face, and her hand goes around your chops and she's moving you about. She's like, well, I've not seen something like this. Some explosion old Malcolm was talking about. And she's sort of pushing you back and forth as she sort of examines the cuts on your heads and looking what it is. And then with very few little words, she starts, as much as an old woman can, running up to the stairs over to the bathroom.
Okay. I don't say anything. I don't resist her moving me around in order to not take 1 damage and pass out again.
Okay. It hurts, and every time she has done it, whilst there's affection to it, it's kind of a brutal sort of motherly kind of looking, and each movement sort of sends shards of pain, almost to the point where you can sort of see white specks.
I just sit there.
Okay.
In fact, I lie back down.
Yeah, we're just gonna let her do whatever she needs to do, I think.
Okay. You can hear upstairs she's gone into some cupboard and there's a rustling and a rummaging, and eventually she sort of comes down slower than she was going up, a little bit gassed, and she starts coming over, and she starts wrapping your head with gauze, starts putting iodine on some of the cuts, and it hurts. It really stings, and it's not necessarily that she's checking for concussion or anything like that. She's just kind of dealing with the physical injuries that she can see. So I was going to choose whether to be kind or just hard, but then I remember this is Call of Cthulhu, so
so cruel it is. Yay!
Yeah, it is. I don't know if I can. There isn't a dice for this, so I need to do. I can't remember the macro. Is it /roll? 1d6.
XDX.
Yeah.
X.
Space XDX.
Space X. D. Divided by 2. See if that. Oh, it didn't work. Right, I'm just going to roll d6 and you get half of what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
1d3.
Yeah.
So
The
you can get
Yay!
XDX, XDX there was what do you call it? 1d4 or 2d7 or whatever you needed. It wasn't actually X.
no, I know that. I just put in
okay.
6 divided by. It didn't do the divide.
Oh really?
Okay.
Yeah, or I botched it. Oh, well, I'm just not very good at this.
I
So-
mean,
I don't roll Mac. I don't type it. I
I mean,
always use
it's
the buttons.
basically Andy's actual job, so don't worry about it.
Yes, I use this all the time.
So
Do you work in a Magic 8-Ball factory?
Mm, that's my job.
So she kind of takes maybe about a quarter of an hour patching up Obadiah. Charles and Evelyn, what are you doing in the meantime?
I'm kind of taking the iodine and trying to patch myself up the best way I can on the cuts and things. My hand's gone to my sort of the fetish keyring thing that I have with all the symbols on. It's a comfort thing more than anything else to just keep on touching it and having that near me. I'm not speaking while Mrs. Garvey is there because obviously we don't want us to talk about Slug Lady yet.
Okay.
Whatever.
So sort of about a quarter of an hour passes, and she sort of packs up the bits that she's brought back down, moving them over to the dining room table, and she kind of goes, right, well, now that's done, tea, anyone?
Yes, please.
So it's almost a little bit nonchalantly, not necessarily that she's not worried about it, but she is not necessarily concerned that Obadiah is in grave danger. And at that, she sort of potters off to go and start making tea, and you can hear water filling the kettle and then the gas slowly being turned on.
We have to go to the Carmody farm. Henry's there. I don't know what state that he's going to be in, but we need to find this and end this.
I would not expect it to be a good end.
So, one cup of tea and then let's go, shall we?
You want to go today?
Hell yeah. What do you want to do? Do you want to sit around here and drink tea?
I mean, I'm fine. It was barely.
I want to
scratched.
get the hell out of this town.
Okay.
That's what I really want to do.
As long as the two of you are fine and fit and ready. But
the choices we have are very limited. We either go back to the university where people are going to laugh off what we've seen and call us crazy, or we try and do something about it now. And there's nothing to say that even if people do believe us, that when we come back, it's still going to be here.
I ain't gonna lie, I probably never gonna mention this ever again in my life. So,
No.
why do we need to go today?
Because frankly, any more time spent in this town feels like I'm wasting my life.
Also, if there's a link between the thing that Abigail had become in the cave and the farm, how disturbing that would
alert them.
not be good. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good to me.
So I think, let's check our equipment and rolls.
So, after not long, you can hear the whistle of the kettle starting to boil.
Okay. I kind of fumble in my pockets and I'm going to say remove the gun rather than pull out the gun and just make sure it's fully loaded and everything else that way around. Check what ammunition I've got and everything ready for the fact that I know that we're going to be going back out there soon.
Okay. Do you have any idea of how much ammunition you have left?
Well, I had 200 rounds to start with because it was dirt cheap, and I've used probably about 7. So I'm good.
Okay. For argument's sake, let's you can go get some from the car bags because I wouldn't have thought you'd have 200 on you.
Yeah.
Take a handful.
Obadiah won't do that yet because he'll probably have a cup of tea and then do it. But he, for the record, also has 34 shells left in his pocket and 998 shells left in the car. He also is going to look to Evelyn. Evelyn, my dear, you ever shot a shotgun before?
You got 2 shotguns.
No.
Evelyn,
No,
have
I
you
do not.
been in a space rocket before?
Have you ever shot a shotgun before, dear?
No.
Well, it's the first time for everything. And I pull out the shotgun and I hand it to you. I'm like, keep that secret. And don't let Miss Jarvie get no wind of what might be going down. And then
What
I
are you
like,
gonna use?
I got Old Faithful in the car.
Oh God, you've got a blunderbuss, haven't you?
I got Old Faithful.
Got a flipping
In the
elephant
car.
gun.
Alright, I'm gonna hand it back to you and just say, give it to me when you get Old Faithful.
Oh,
That way
sure.
we don't.
Sure,
Yeah.
I will do
Otherwise,
that.
I'm a lady walking around with a gun in a house.
Do you not have some kind of shawl you can hide it under? What the hell are you doing, woman? I guess not. It's warm outside.
I
Fine.
just got files on.
Fine. I take the shotgun back, and I put it back in my jacket.
Okay.
I mean, I'll definitely take it. I was planning to go to the butcher shed maybe and have a look to see if they had something melee as well. But
At this point, you can hear her start to pour to cups and start to make tea.
so I don't think I'll ever be going anywhere near dynamite again.
No, that stuff was lethal.
I can't believe the way the rocks just fell on it and blew it up. It was terrible. It was so unfortunate as well. You never think that something like that was going to happen to you, but it did happen.
Of course you don't.
Right, I'm guessing by this point I've returned from the car. So
Oh, you went out to the car.
I went out to get more bullets, and my pockets look really, really heavy.
Okay. So Mrs. Jarvie comes in with an old-fashioned teapot and china saucers and lays them down in front of you, and it's the sweet smell of very strong black tea, and there's a small little cup with cubes of sugar, and a few slices of lemon. She's gone all out for you guys.
Thank you very much, Miss Jarvie.
You're
It's
welcome.
much appreciated after the hard day we've had.
So, hard day? How exactly did that explosion happen?
Somebody had left dynamite exposed, and we don't know if a rock fall started a spark which ignited it, or if it just became unstable. But something caused the dynamite to go off, and we were lucky to escape with our lives.
Okay, could you make
Persuade.
a persuade roll, please?
Pass the test for the first time this evening, please.
First time in 3 sessions.
Yes. No.
No!
Push it.
And-
Just push it for no reason.
And as Mr.
Yeah,
Jarvie,
I kind of went like this afterwards.
and as Mr. Jarvie comes back into the room, she shoots him an odd glance, not fully believing your story.
Can I attempt to see that?
Tell me how you would do that.
I mean, I'd be watching her, right?
Mhm.
So, I presume him coming into the room would be an event that we're all watching anyway.
Mhm.
So, if I'm going to be looking at her, I think I'll probably see, or might have a chance to see her winking or giving her an odd look. I think most people pick up on things when couples give each other looks anyway.
Oh, it's not
Unless, of
subtle.
course,
It's not subtle at all.
In that case.
She shot him a strange look.
I have to ask, Mr. and Mrs. Jarvin, were you aware that of if Henry or Abigail had dynamite in their possession when they were exploring around the town?
And Mr. Jarvis sort of thinks for a second, like, certainly had a big truck, but there's no dynamite in my house.
I mean, I hope not, because it has a tendency to explode, apparently. Interesting. We did get a brief look at it before it blew up, and it looked like it'd been there quite a while.
Seems you're all lucky to be alive. And in
not.
that, there's undertone in that.
Have you ever been to the cave, Mr. Jarvie?
Only as a young boy, although everyone's warned not to go there.
Why?
Well, just supposed to be one of them dangerous places kids not supposed to play.
I mean, it
Was
was
pretty
full of
difficult to get out
dynamite. Yeah, it was full of dynamite.
Yeah, don't know how long it'd been there though.
The dynamite cave.
Do you know anyone that does go up to the cave a lot?
And he pauses for a second, and he sort of says, "It's not well known, but a few people they've been known to go up." And he sort of looks at he looks over for a second at Edith, sort of thinking about it quite hard, really, about who might perhaps go up. And he says to you, if I can find it, where's it gone? Well, now suppose you come to think of it, old Spruceton used to go up there quite a lot. Used to bring it into his preachers, say that there's lots of healing for all up there.
Lots of what? Sorry.
Healing for all, spiritual, physical.
Let's see.
Well, it definitely didn't look that way.
Let's see.
There's some odd growths on the sides of the river whilst you're going up there. Like the grass and everything had grown a lot taller than usual.
And there were really aggressive things in that grass.
Yeah.
Aggressive things?
Like a black tar, a bit like what we saw, remember when old Pete had his incident a couple of days ago.
And you see the mention of old Pete, it's tender, it's hard to talk about old Pete.
Hit the black bile, the black substance that came out of him. It's very much the same around the river.
And sort of Edith wiping a tear away from sort of the corner of her eye, she's like, "Well, what are you saying, Evelyn? Think that old tar had something to do with Pete?"
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe there's something in the water. Pretty badly. That's why we asked. Was it yesterday when we had some tea or coffee? We asked for everything to be the water to be boiled, and I was trying to show you maybe something odd about the water. But yeah, we think maybe the Carmodys have been using the water, and that's. I mean, you must have seen their crops. It's gigantic.
And at the mention of the Carmodys, sort of both of them, it's almost sort of in time, sort of. Spare people, them boys. Spare people. Both of them sort of, together.
How many people are at the Carmody farm?
Well, it's got Damien Carmody and Brendan Carmody. It's knucklehead brothers.
What exactly makes you think they are bad people?
Well, just these dumb thugs. Bunch of rednecks trying to sell their whiskey.
Have they ever done anything untoward to anyone?
It's just a bunch of bullies. Driving around town super fast, shooting them guns up in the air. There's no need.
Let's see.
People
we have
need
reason
respect.
to suspect that they've taken our friends, or at least done something bad to them.
And quite puzzled, they look at you, sort of not following the link. Almost sort of there's that silence of, go on.
I think at this point you've worked out that the cave didn't cave in by itself. We went in to go have a look, and we found. So I'm going to turn to Charles and say, sorry, what was the wife's name again?
Abigail.
Abigail. That's it. We found Abigail.
You found her?
Almost. Yeah, she was in a really bad state. Like, really bad. We think she's basically in the same state as old Pete was. Not very coherent, and had the same black substance all over her. Just wasn't good. But one of the very few things we could get out of her was that she said the bad people, the people of the Carmody farm, had taken her husband away, and then she passed.
And at that point you can see the sort of the shock on their faces, and he's like, need to get her back. She don't deserve to be up there all on her own. Needs a proper burial.
I mean,
Well,
she
you're
is
saying
under. She is quite thoroughly under some rocks right now.
And you can
She
see
did
them
not
sort of,
escape the cave. She is buried.
and sort of it the kind of play on words in the joke. You can see them kind of scowl at sort of not the respect that someone deserves.
I mean,
if we'd had time to bring her out, we obviously would have done. But given the dangerous circumstances, we had to think about ourselves first.
We were
Like, we had
fleeing
to
for
get
his
out.
life. We were fleeing for our lives at that point. If we could have brought her out, we would. I know Abigail. I've known her for a very long time. I know her husband even longer. But we couldn't remove her from where she was.
And you say them Carmody boys, they got our friend Henry.
She was
Apparently,
very,
yeah.
very clear about that.
And you see sort of for a moment you can see the already squinty Malcolm. His face goes from old man resting bitch face to something's not right. We have to do something. Edith, just go get my shotgun. And you can see the shock and surprise in her face. What do you think of doing, Malcolm? And just go get my shotgun, woman. And sort of at being told twice, you can see her potter off, and she goes out through the back exit of the kitchen. And at this moment, sort of, Malcolm is steely faced. He is. This is too far.
Yeah, and
I mean-
so yeah, we're thinking of going over there with, well, we're all armed or will be armed, and if you want to come with us, that's great, but we want you to stay safe because you've been really, really helpful for us, and obviously really kind to Henry and Abigail. So we don't want anything bad to happen to you because of whatever these people are doing. And I think it would be a lie to say that we're expecting to find him alive, because it's been 3 months or something, so like that. Well, I don't know why anyone would hold someone for 3 months.
And anger in his voice, and sort of looking as though he's getting worked up. Shh, too far this time. It is too far. And he's sort of shaking slightly with rage as he awaits for Edith to come back.
Cool.
Malcolm, do you know anything about the Great War?
I do. Didn't go over myself, but plenty of my friends, they went to serve.
One thing that I can tell you is you learn that people do terrible things and are capable of very, very terrible things. And the things that you end up seeing through that, you can never unsee. Are you sure you want to put yourself in a situation where you can see the worst of men?
Giles, this is my home. If they've been taking these people off the road, visitors, what happens to me and my wife?
Okay. I'm thinking of you and your wife as well, though, because we don't know which way this is going to go. I don't imagine that this is going to be a peaceful conversation. I don't want to take you away from your wife or your wife away from you.
And he grunts. Not necessarily listening to reason at this point.
I look at him, and at this point in time, I'm like, well, if you are not averse towards arming ourselves, I would please do not be shot now. And I pull out the shotgun and I hand it over to Evelyn properly this time. And I like dig my fist into my pocket and I just like pull out a fist full of shells.
Okay.
Maybe 10 shells, 12 shells, whatever I can hold in my hand, and I just like dump it into your lap.
Yeah, I'm gonna open my purse and you can put it in there, and or handbag, whatever you want.
If you have like a bag, then like I take my second handful and I manage to get all of the shells out of my pocket. You have a purse full of 34 shells.
I mean, that's fine by me. I just found it hilarious that I'm carrying around a little bag with a shotgun.
And at that point, as you're pulling things out, he looks shocked at the fact that strangers are carrying weapons around so reasonably heavily armed.
I mean, I will say, Mr. Jarvis, the only thing that I believe saves you from that awe. So please do not be offended.
I'm gonna need to know the full story here.
As to why we are armed?
Seems like you've been missing bits out. If I'm coming with you, I need to know.
I mean, by all means, you both can fill Mr. Jarvie in. I'm gonna go get Old Faithful.
Okay.
Right. I'm just gonna attempt to explain that we've been seeing some really weird stuff, and we'll maybe go up to the point where we've been, even before we got to his farm. I want to say the stuff about the mother because that might really touch a chord with them, because obviously of what old Pete was saying. So I'm going to say that both Charles and I were hearing stuff about our mothers, and our mothers were talking to us, and we both thought it was weird and odd. And then maybe go into the fact that we found the van, and that the van outside obviously Henry's van, and that we found their tents, and the tent had blood on it, and things like that.
What level of strangeness are you talking about? Are you talking about the trees? Are you talking about exactly what you saw in the womb of the earth? Are you talking about?
I think we might not go into complete detail. What we'd be asking him as well, though, is, you've lived here all your life. This is, what have you seen that's strange? Because, this plays into it, and this isn't normal. The fact that, there's the constant feeling of threat around us. The fact that there's a cave where, even if we didn't go into detail what we saw and just said about the fact that people are not degrading after death in the way that you would imagine that they would. The fact that there's these crops that are swelling to exponential levels, even though, there's no reason for that. And even with that, even the growth on its own is kind of a violent growth, isn't it?
So,
and the black stuff all over the place. The water being weird. I'm sure you must have seen the kids putting worms or whatever it was into the ground. Sorry, into the water and being eaten, because we saw that on one day casually walking through the town.
And it's a lot of information for him to take, and he doesn't appear to understand everything that you're talking about. And he kind of says to you sort of, well, Blackwater always been hostile to you strangers. Don't like no outsiders up here, but it's just myths and legends. We don't have that sort of thing around here. This ain't no one of my stories on the radio.
It's one thing for the people to be hostile, but this is the place that's been hostile to us. It's a boar deciding to try and gore you after however many years. It's poor Pete who has died in a terrible way. That's not something you would expect. It's the fact that the river itself seems to be a hostile entity.
And he looks at you, Charles, specifically, and he's like, accidents happen, Mr. Allen. It's a wild boar I've been taming. Accidents happen all the time around here. Accidents happen everywhere. And he can't, you can see the more you talk about it, the more he is either unwilling to accept it, or he doesn't get it. It's beyond his comprehension.
I mean, at this point, I'm just going to say the most important bit is that we found a tent, or 2 tents, at the campsite where we know they were staying, Henry and what's her name, Abigail, and one of them had a large amount of blood inside the tent, not on the outside, the inside. And then we found close by. Actually, we still have it. We must still have the wrench because we picked it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where we've got it, but I might say, actually, wait a minute, and then go upstairs if it's there. I can't remember where we put it. And then maybe come down with the bloody wrench and show them it. I'll show him it. And then just say, like, even if you don't believe all the other stuff that we've been saying about the area being hostile, we found evidence that someone did something to Abigail and Henry whilst they were inside this tent, and it was obviously brutal and damaging. And we don't know if the body went there, so obviously they didn't die there. But
okay,
if this isn't reason to arm yourself, I don't know what is.
And at this point, Mrs. Jarvie comes back and passes him the shotgun. It's a sort of like a 10-bore 2-barrel shotgun, and he cracks it, checks that there are 2 shells within the chambers, and he sort of says in response to you, something horrific has happened here. Doesn't have to be unnatural. Maybe unnatural men. Something is horrific, and we will sort them boys out.
Fair enough. I just want you to know, if we do see anything unnatural, I want you to be prepared. I don't want you, I want you to steel yourself, basically. I don't know what we're going to see there, but...
And as you're saying this to him, he kind of looks at you as though a young woman is talking to him like that. This is unusual for him. Maybe you city folk talk to your men like that. But this is unusual, and there's a small hint of a grin at the side of his lips as he sees the kahunas of Evelyn.
Alright, I'm just gonna leave it at
that. Obadiah.
I'm still outside.
Maybe Obadiah would be happy for us to use his vehicle to get to the Jarvie, not the Jarvie farm, the other farm, the Carmody farm.
Idea?
Well, I'm thinking,
right?
Are we going in sneaky, or are we going in all guns blazing, shall we say?
I wouldn't go all guns blazing, right? I definitely think it's good to use. If we're chatting out in the open, I think use is probably a bad word to use. I think it's maybe a good idea to use Mr. Jarvie as the main talker, because he obviously, I should include him in the conversation. you obviously know them, so maybe it's best for you to chat to them and maybe ask about what's going on, and we can step behind you and have you backed up. Or do you think that's a good idea, Mr. Jarvie, or would you prefer a more direct approach?
We walk up that lane and we tell them boys what's what.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Okay.
He's pissed.
Yeah. Okay. We should definitely drink this tea before we leave, because I'm not sure about you, Mr. Jarvie, but we've had a rough day already, so should definitely get ourselves some energy.
Who's having tea?
I'm definitely having the tea, just in case it makes me magically happy.
Yeah, magic tea, please.
Depends. Are the wheels that we brought back from the van, have the Jarvies put those on my car, or are the slashed wheels still on the car?
It is the midday of the afternoon. Not yet.
Not yet. I think Obadiah would be thinking about leaving rather than tea. So he's probably going to have gone out to his car, gone to get his large gun, realize that the wheels aren't on the car, and if they're around there, he'll start trying to put them on.
Okay, this is going to take a considerable amount of time. But if you want to start rolling mechanics or engineering to start working on your car.
Do you know what? Going after dark might not be a bad thing if we don't want all of us to be seen.
Could happen. It's just, I don't know. Again, I don't know.
He's going to fix it in about 30 seconds because he passed that test quite well.
Yeah. So, depending on the relation of the other people, you manage to sort of put a new tyre on it. It doesn't look very nice. It barely fits under the wheel arch. But you do manage to swap the tyre in about 20 minutes. So there's still considerable time inside if you guys want to carry on talking or need to do anything.
I don't know. I think we're all right.
Comes back.
Maybe just discuss about the thing about the night. Do you think it's a good idea? Like, if there's any chance of resolving this diplomatically, which I don't think there is, we're basically nullifying it by going at nighttime.
I don't know. I mean, the idea would be that Mr. Jarvie could go and talk to them, and if they're likely to see reason, they're more likely to do it to a local than they are to strangers who they're automatically hostile to.
I agree.
And we could always, send somebody round the back just in case things didn't go well.
Charles,
If
can you
they
make a
do-
psychology roll, please?
Okay.
I'm just worried about sending in Mr. Harvey on his own, Jarvie, sorry, on the chance that
Oh, you are kidding me.
Okay.
your brain falls out.
You think at
Yeah,
the moment
yeah.
that having Mr. Jarvie as the key diplomat would be a great idea, considering that he's from this area.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think putting Mr. Jarvie in the front is a good idea, just because I don't know what these boys are like, but from what it sounds like, I don't want to lose Mr. Jarvie because they're super angry and pissed that he's even talking to them and just outright shoot. Like, I think if we're gonna do this, we should do it as a 4-man team display of strength. There's no way they can start shooting us because we have 4 guns on them type thing. Rather than, sending one guy and then getting caught out because we thought they were nicer than they were.
Whilst you're drinking your tea, could both of you make a con save?
Probably not, because I haven't been making any saves. Oh my god.
Okay. Bear me 2 seconds while I have a look at your character sheets.
Do you know, we rolled the same note. Actually, no, I'm going to use 4 of my luck and pass it.
Okay.
I don't have any luck.
Charles, please could you roll a sanity roll, please?
Probably not. Let's see where I'm at. Sanity. Okay.
Okay. Could you roll a d6?
I don't want to.
Okay. So you lose 5 points of sanity. Gain 1 Cthulhu mythos point. Okay.
I know all
So
about tentacles in that little padded hut.
I'm gonna quickly whisper Charles. Okay.
Okay.
If this works.
Oh, do you want me to mute myself or?
Is this? Oh no, I've done it the other way
You
around.
took
Hold
it
on.
the wrong way, yeah.
Da-da-da-da. Okay, Charles. So at this moment, as you're sort of drinking the tea, thinking about everything that's going on, you kind of start to feel. Oh, let me just double check your character sheet before I assume. Yeah, you get to a point where you start to feel like everything is interconnected. You feel like every living being, and you feel like a real connectedness to your peers, to the people next to you. You start to hear the sounds of the animals, and everything feels like it's all together and connected. And at this moment in time, you realise that you must stay in Blackwater Creek to resolve this. You get this real
Have I been
sense.
given LSD?
No. You've done LSD. It's not like that.
Right, okay. Right.
I'll bring him back. Is Joe frozen?
You there, Joe?
Ah, there he is.
Nope,
Hello.
he's there. Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear him.
Joe, you're muted.
See, I can see his soundbar going, but I can't hear him.
Yeah, I'm going to try and refresh myself
Okay,
and see if
me
that
too.
helps.
I'm just reconnecting. Oh, wait.
You're right, Joe.
He's just typing something. Oh, turn up the soundbar. There we go. Nice one. Cheers. Thank you.
For some reason, when you mute
Unmute.
other people, it like leaves you at minimum like no sound.
No worries. Good to know. Yeah. So that happens.
Okay.
What happens?
You're outside.
I'm just still changing tires.
Oh. Sorry, I had to put the volume on both Greg and Joe back up.
Apologies. It's not the best of mute systems.
That's alright.
Okay.
Good.
So, we'll say that we're very close to the 20 minutes have passed. And Obadiah, you can start finishing, putting the last few nuts onto the tire.
Cool. I'll do that. I will get it finished, and then I will double check to make sure that my very large gun is in the car.
Okay.
I get it loaded.
Now this is a very large gun.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Like
Okay.
This is like ridiculous for anything.
Yeah.
Nicknamed the midlife crisis.
Yeah. I get it loaded. I put it back on the floor of the back seats, if that makes sense. And then I take a fistful more shells, maybe 5 or 6 more shells. I don't think I could probably carry many more than that. And I put those in my pockets. I close the car door, I lock up the car, and I walk back to the house.
Cool. Let's get going then. May
Yeah,
as well.
So you walk into them wrapping up their discussions about how they might approach, and there's discussions about whether they should wait a few hours. So it's coming up to maybe 1:15.
Mm-hmm.
Discussions whether they should wait till darkness, who should they sneak up, should they go in, should Mr. Jarvie just go and confront them, and that seems to be Charles's leading towards.
I see. Yeah. Should we not all go maybe now? I mean, I'm ready.
The sooner we do this, the better.
I won't.
Everything. It's this place. We need to.
I quite concur. The sooner we get out of here, the sooner I'm back home and safe and sound. Frankly, I don't wish to, no offense, Mr. Jarvie, stay in this godforsaken town any longer than I have to. Speaking of, if you got any of that fine tea, Mrs. Jarvie, I just changed the wheels on my car, so we can be out of your hair as soon as possible.
And she goes down, picks up a cup of tea, and then sort of hands it over the back of the sofa to you. Can you make a con save, please?
I can't.
There you go.
Okay. Can you make a sanity roll, please?
I can't.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hold on, I'm just going on to your character sheet.
Can we, pass a roll today?
Okay.
Yeah, as long as it involves fixing the car.
Yeah, like, I can fix a car, damn it.
Now, you are exhausted, and this tea is exactly what hits the spot. Everything tastes it tastes good, and despite it having cooled down, sometimes you might like a nice iced tea, even though it's not iced. It was tasty. And you feel the warmth or the lukewarm go down your gullet and down into your stomach, and you start to feel sort of the knots sort of loosening up a little bit. And whether it's time, whether it's the iodine, but your wounds start to feel as though they're not hurting as much, which is useful. Yeah.
Healing tea.
Sweet baby Jeebus.
That's not what he did to me.
Alright, let's get out of here then.
I'm quite agitated as I'm getting up, and I'm kind of mumbling to myself. It's just like, yeah, everything is falling together. Everything's coming together. Everything's here. Everything's here. It's this. I'm kind of just mumbling it mindlessly to myself as I'm going along.
So,
yeah, sorry, I was reading as we went, and I can't do two things at once.
I was eating Pringles. So, Mr. Jarvie sort of storms out of the door, shotgun in arm, and out through the door. Mrs. Jarvie sort of calls to him, telling him to be sensible, and he sort of storms down to the entrance to his farm. And you get to here on the footpath.
Where?
Just here.
Alright, okay.
I obviously pick up my elephant gun on the way.
Okay. And
nobody says anything. Nobody even acknowledges the fact that I have a ridiculous gun.
No.
Okay.
At this point,
I thought, what?
We've seen some crazy shit. You with a big gun is not gonna.
Yeah.
We just saw a slug lady. As we go past Mrs. Jarvie, so I want to say, don't worry, we'll keep an eye on them, because I presume she'll be worried. But
I bet she's massively reassured, considering we've just exploded a cave.
And
look, I'm gonna do it anyway. Damn it!
And there's a nervous laugh as you say that, and she sort of wraps her own arms around herself to sort of comfort herself as she watches you go.
Look, we've failed every roll. Okay, I'm not saying this to her, by the way, but we've failed every roll. We've saved all the good rolls for the combat.
No, I've spent our one success already.
Yeah.
We're going home at some point in time.
No, that car's just going to sit there as a monument to how bad we are at everything else.
Yeah, exactly. We take Mr. Jarvie to another farm, and Mrs. Jarvie inherits a car because she doesn't get her husband back.
It's got an image of it rusting out with like dandelions growing out through the windows and things.
Yep.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they're coming back. That could be the plaque under it.
So, Mr. Jarvie is storming forward, almost leading the way. How are you guys kind of going with him?
Just keep up behind him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
As
want to be
best as
with him
possible.
so that we don't he doesn't get there, and then we have the situation in which I was talking about where he starts confronting them on his own,
Okay.
and then we can't back him up. Like, if they think they can take him out before we get there, then we got problems, and then we have to somehow explain it to his wife. And I don't want to have to do that in a
No.
game or in
Agreed.
real life. So I say we try and just keep up with him at all. I mean, we should be as angry, or at least Charles should be as angry as he is, and then we're just kind of like, I'm being paid to be here.
I'm kind of morbidly fascinated and checking my gun, and yeah, I'm ready to shoot some people.
Right.
Well, I'm not. I'm ready to roll to shoot people and then miss and probably kill one of you.
Fumble.
But
So
oh.
as you start up the road, going from Blackwater Creek up to the Carmody Farm property, the road becomes bumpier. It's muddy. It's just barely a track, and it probably leads for about a mile until you start coming into contact with the beginning of the cornfields. So these are the cornfields that you've been able to see over the fence. They are massive. These are huge towering stalks, at least 12 feet tall. They look rotten. There's black and green viscous liquid dripping down the stems, and you're almost overpowered with a strong, sweet smell of corruption permeating the entire area.
Cool. I'm gonna point that out to Mr. Jarvie and be like, "Do you see what we mean about the crops and stuff?"
And he kind of shrugs, sort of just way things are around here, girl. And
You have black goo coming down the sides of your crops.
not all things grow well. We don't use them pesticides. And literally, the tallness of this corn is so much so that the closer you get as you sort of come up to it entirely, it blocks out the sky. You know that once you get in this, that you won't be able to see the sky. It is that tall and that towering over you.
Should have brought the car.
Well, we're fine because we're inside the path, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be going on the path, so... I mean, Mr. Jarvie knows where he's going anyway, so...
Right.
So,
We
like,
assume that Mr. Jarvie's been over here before at some point in time, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of at this point, kind of looking around, going, yeah, it links. It links. It's all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just. You can see I'm on edge with it, and you can see that I'm kind of going round and round and round in circles with myself.
So, what have we got here?
That is an image of a World War One
Elephant gun.
Just for the record, if either of you aren't sure what an elephant gun looks like,
What do they use?
what do they use?
Like, what are they used for, sorry?
Killing elephants and killing, like, shooting through armor.
Alright,
And-
this is going to be interesting. Just shoot the house with it.
So,
Just sit like at the boundary fence, just like bang, reload, bang.
so it's incredibly heavy for you to carry all this way. And I would argue that that you certainly cannot be readied with that type of gun because you wouldn't walk like this.
Oh god, no! Oh god, no!
So, as you kind of go, over this track, it is incredibly potholed. There are rocks all along the way, and it's a very muddy, uneven surface. It's mud's getting onto your shoes. It's certainly not pleasant to walk into, and it's slightly swampy despite the heat. It's more kind of it is a track, but it's very much they could have just carried on planting over this line. Now, as you sort of get up to the stalks, you notice that they seem to move constantly, even when there isn't a discernible breeze. They're just sort of swaying back and forth.
At this point, I'm just focused on getting to the farm and finding out what happened here so that we can go home.
I keep myself equidistant between the crops, or between, like, literally as far away from all of the plant life as possible.
Yeah, to be fair, we did nearly get killed by a tree, so we would be very, very weary over what was, or wary, should I say, not weary, it's a slightly different word.
You're a bit of both.
Yeah, true. Wary of what's going on around us, especially when it's got the sludge coming off it that other things that ended up not being nice did.
Okay.
I might tap Mr. Jarvie on the shoulder and just tell him to try and keep in between, like, don't touch the crops.
Okay, and he nods his head but doesn't necessarily reply, too intent on getting there as fast as possible to show these boys a lesson. Could everyone roll a spot hidden?
I mean, I failed on 87 and 86 so far, so... Oh my god.
Okay. Oh, delicious. Okay, so I'll start worst to best. So, Charles, as you are walking through, you get the continuous feeling that you are being watched, that there are things moving within the corn. Evelyn, as you are moving through, you notice that there are eyes watching you from the ground. Numerous sets of glinting eyes.
On the ground or
in the corn?
Okay.
But at floor level.
Floor of the corn. Okay.
And continuously as you walk, they almost more appear like cat's eyes on a road, watching you, following you as you keep going through, and to the point where this corner is so tall that the shadows are sort of making this reasonably dark. I suppose you've only got sort of a small line of sky illuminating below you. Obadiah, as you notice all of this, you can hear the subtle hiss of a snake every now and again.
I'm just like, stay the fuck away from me, plants. I'm warning you.
And
I'm definitely going to point it out to Mr. Jarvie just in case he can't see it.
Sure.
I'm going to say there's something watching us on the sides and this little eyes and stuff. And also to Charles as well. Okay. And obviously Obadiah, because I don't know that he passed well.
Yeah, Obadiah is just like gives you like a stare that just says like, I'm seeing shit. Like,
okay. Just to differentiate, Evelyn, the eyes you saw are bigger than a snake, if that makes sense. They're not.
Okay, but I don't know about the snake because Obadiah hasn't said.
But in terms of creature, it is bigger than that.
Okay.
And I suppose
when you say eyes, do you mean like they're moving along with us and watching, or is there just like eyes opening as we're going, like?
Moving along with you.
Okay.
And Mr. Jarvie, sort of as you highlight to him, is like, "Sir, critters love all this corn."
Oh, won't lie. Maybe you should consider using some of that pesticide.
And there's kind of a dark, humorous chuckle from the front of the pack.
Cool. Just keep going, I guess. I mean, if they're going to attack us, they're going to attack us.
Okay. So, as you're moving your way through, all you can pretty much hear now is the rustling within the corn, the swaying of the corn, and how do I describe it? I suppose you can see, like, particularly in distinct sort of areas of corruption within the corn, you can see that there are numerous cobwebs, um, you know, big spiders sort of sitting on the cobwebs, numerous flies caught up, some of them actively rolling flies. It doesn't look healthy by any means.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep walking.
Yeah.
I just want to get. I don't know about you guys, but some creepy ass spiders after we've seen the slag lady.
It links into something I saw a couple of sessions ago, where after the pig came out with all the insects that were there and the spiders and the web, and I like I said, outside of what we're doing, my view on that is the idea that the place is the web, and we're kind of the flies.
Mm.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I am never eating cornbread ever again when I get home.
Well, in Blackwater Creek, cornbread eats you.
Nice.
Okay. So after about a mile of walking, you manage to get up to the farm itself, and I suppose you can see a handful of buildings as you just sort of come out of the clearing of the corn. And it ends sort of as a dirt track. You can see a barn, and from the smell of it, it smells like brewing sort of moonshine. You can smell sort of alcohol in the air, sweet, a sweetness, a sickly kind of boiling you can hear in the background. And everybody roll a perception roll again. Perception? Wrong.
Yeah, spot
hidden.
Are you joking? What is that? Are you fucking serious?
So,
1 second. Let me just. How much luck do I need to spend for that? 33. No, it's not worth it.
Dude.
I mean, it's probably worth it, but.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
What's the point of playing this game at this rate?
We're all going to turn into giant slugs who shit in a pool.
Yeah, exactly.
So, coming out of the, no one pauses to stop as you come out of the cornfields, and you can see there's a smaller barn across the yard. You can see a stable with horses, and there's a tractor parked outside of it, and there's even sort of a little silo over to the side. And what you can see is there are two men over by the distillery building, or where you can smell that smell from, and I suppose there's three men, sorry, and one of them turns around sort of as you come out of the corner itself, and he sort of shouts across. He's like, "Jarvie," and as he you can see Mr. Jarvie literally quite literally doesn't pause for thought as he's storming across, and you can see that these three men sort of almost immediately their backs are up at the fact that there are people walking onto their property with weapons, and as you can see them sort of one of them picks up a pitchfork, one of them picks up a shotgun, and the other sort of takes up other sort of various farm tools in either hand, and is anyone doing anything at that moment, that second?
Well, how far are we away?
So I suppose you're probably walking at a considerable pace, sort of like, in my head it's kind of storm marching, and they're kind of there.
Cool. I might say to Obadiah, since you're the best at firing, I was gonna say, since you're the best at firing a weapon, but you're also carrying a gigantic fuck off weapon, so that's probably not a good idea. Charles, you're better than me at firing this, so why didn't you aim or take aim at the guy with the gun? And
Yeah,
I'll take aim at one of the guys who had just got melee weapons.
the level of paranoia my guy at this moment has because of how insane he is. He would have probably had his gun in his hand. If not, he's got hold of it there, and then he kind of has it and he's ready to sort of aim and fire at any given moment if the wrong things are done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that we walked along with the guns anyway because we're just.
Yeah.
I mean, also given that I probably just walked a whole mile with what is undoubtedly a really heavy gun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty messed up. I'm not in the best of sit places here. I'm gonna almost take a knee, almost just kneel and put the butt of the rifle down on the ground, knowing that I probably, if I'm going to fire this, I'm going to want to lay it down and fire it at something.
Okay.
But doing it in a manner that looks like I'm just taking a rest from the long walk.
Okay.
And
right.
whilst the rest of us are aggressively walking forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you immediately sort of Mr. Jarvie sort of shouts over, Damien, where's that boy? Where's that boy from the outside? And immediately you can hear kind of like a nasty cackle within sort of Damien's throat. And he's like, what boy? And between the two of them, they have almost sort of a slanging match, shouting at each other about how they're irresponsible, about how they have no right to do what they should do. Is he here? All of which Damien denies vehemently, and it's very tense and it's incredibly hostile as everyone's kind of paused, ready, sort of gone in.
I mean, I'll just bring up the fact that we met her, his wife Abigail, and she said you took him.
So,
yeah.
At this moment, between the two of them, there's a massive hostile, huge tension with the knife as Damien sort of stands there smirking, and he's he's a reasonably tall, just a rough looking guy in kind of tattered jeans, sort of a vest top, and he just looks like an absolute hillbilly with one of those trucker hats, and it looks like he hasn't had looks a bit like Daryl from The Walking Dead, early on. And after a couple of moments of silence, he sort of says to you, "All y'all better get off my farm mighty quick."
We're not leaving until we find a friend.
In my best Yorkshire accent, make me.
And at that point,
does 5 mean that he makes me?
Roll a persuade check. Fuck. Fumble.
I suppose, yeah, just thinking about in terms of, is there anything equivalent to intimidate on here?
There is intimidate.
There is intimidate.
Yeah, do you want to roll an intimidate, Charles?
Ooh, I might be good at intimidation.
Look, I believe in you, Charles, okay?
No, I'm terrible at it. I could have
Oh
persuaded
my
him.
god! You did it! You fucking did it!
I'm the hardest, weediest looking man in the world.
And at this moment, you see both of the thugs, thug farm hands that are helping out Damien, sort of both look to him very unsure of themselves, and not entirely. Maybe we don't want to do this. And Damien there for a second. He. Bear me 2 seconds. I'm just thinking about. I did not expect it to go this way. So,
Neither did I with my rolls. God.
He lowers his gun slightly, and and he again repeats, I suppose, what do you want?
Clearly, this guy's a redneck. I'll let you, Charles. I think you should handle all the chatting because he's obviously afraid of you a tiny bit. So,
Henry, where is he?
And at that point, he kind of shuffles his shotgun over in a slight pointing over to the root cellar.
the hell's that?
Did that load?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is it?
So it's the bottom building.
Yeah, it was more in relation to the where we are currently.
Oh,
Is it the
okay,
farmhouse?
sorry, it's the
itself?
farmhouse.
It's the farmhouse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the 3 buildings where the farmhouse is.
I think it's
First
stories.
floor, second floor, and
Okay,
Yeah.
I
So
see.
he nods his gun over to the farmhouse itself. The farmhouse is, as you sort of look at it, it's at the very top of the farm, and it's a wooden framed house. There's a long porch out the front with a couple of rotten chairs and a collapsed swing at the front. On the side of it is a woodshed, and there seems to be. I suppose it's quite a small woodshed, but it doesn't look as though it's been used for wood. There's a water pump in the trough out the front of the porch, and it seems full at the moment.
I don't know, Charles. Do you think we could maybe get him to lead us in there, and then maybe state again that it'll be like we don't want to kill anyone or do any harm, and it might be possible to do that if you just show us where Henry is, and then maybe we can get him and leave.
Yeah, I kind of turn around and go, show us. That's kind of, I'm kind of trying to keep my Clint Eastwood thing going on.
Okay.
So it's just, show me where he is.
So again, he tilts his shotgun forward, gesturing for you to start walking towards the farmhouse in front of him.
I kind of, well, I think we're going to end up in a bit of a gun wiggling competition. I wiggle my gun to tell him to walk in front of me.
And he stares dumbfounded at you, unsure of why no one's moving. He's just so thick that he can't necessarily comprehend it. And
can I, at this point in time, I assume I'm within earshot of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just level the elephant rifle like at them, at like trying to take aim at one of the 3 of them?
Okay.
Preferably him with a shotgun.
Yeah, I was gonna say go, Damien.
Okay. And at this point, they make a few small steps slowly towards the farmhouse, waiting to ensure that you try and walk aside them. At best,
Okay,
is what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Whether you do or
Well,
not.
they're going to be rather disappointed when we start walking behind them.
Okay. And very slowly, they walk to the farmhouse. And I suppose as you come up to the farmhouse, even before you reach the porch, there's a mustiness to it, as a damp, rotted wood sort of smell. It's sort of just percolating percolating sort of throughout the air, and you can see kind of like the those white sort of almost doily sort of patterned curtains that go across that sort of
like a lace curtain.
Like a lace curtain. They're sort of it's yellowed and mouldy within the windows, and it's certainly not a nice place to live by any means. And he ushers you, I suppose you kind of get up to the front door and sort of with him in front, and he opens up the door and steps to the side.
Kind of look at him. So what have you done?
Can you roll another intimidate?
Probably
No.
not. Surely that 7's worth a bit more. Right.
How much luck have you got left?
I've got about 10.
Alright, because we might be able to use it, I guess.
How much luck do 15 luck left.
Right.
And I am going to roll intimidation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, can you push it maybe with a gun or something? I mean,
Good. How do I push a roll?
So describe to me how you would make. How would you? So say for in intimidation, describe how you might further that intimidation.
Well, I could raise the gun to his eye and poke it in his eye and say, "What have you done?" Cocking the trigger. Would that work?
That would work. I will. I'll give you an extra dice for that if you wanna. So you'll push it, but you'll get extra dice.
Okay,
so you need to get under a 7, but you'll have 3.
Right. So, is there a special? Oh, yeah. I think I remember.
it sucks though.
Is it just the
I don't know
white
what
dice that I'm rolling?
I don't know whether it might just be worth rolling normal and then rolling. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know what happened there.
Because, for instance, there you could take the 20 and then spend 13 luck to get it down to 7.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Okay. And at that point, he's like, "Fucking outsiders. He came to our land, and the mother wanted him. He's in here, and she'll get him.
Is he alive?
He's in here."
Right, gentlemen, do we start shooting now?
I mean, I guess
Are
so.
you asking that like out loud with a gun pointed at his head?
Yeah,
I mean,
why not? Because no, I'm just thinking that at this point, my guy's ready to crack anyway.
I mean, I'm slowly trudging up behind you guys with a giant ass elephant gun, like as pointed as I can, sitting on my hip.
We're super close to them. I mean, you can't fail your shot, right? Because it's directly in front of his head.
Oh, I can.
I mean, like in theory, you shouldn't be able to. It's already cocked. You've already cocked it, and you've already got your hand on the trigger. There's like no way he's gonna get away from that. So, yeah. I mean, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm standing with my gun ready.
Again, this is a bit metagamey and everything else there, but we're not going to leave them outside while we go inside, are we?
No, there's no way it's happening. So we just fucking shoot them.
Yeah, well, okay, I pull the trigger.
Okay.
And as soon as I hear that, I'm just gonna shoot the nearest guy. Because one was armed with the pitch, what do you call it, a pitch fork, and the other one was armed with like random crap. So
probably like a sickle blade or something because it's corn, right?
Yeah. Sweet baby Jesus. Right.
I guess. Can I react to the shot as well?
So let me just so you were walking up, Obadiah, and you had your elephant gun.
Just kind of like on my hip, kind of like looking threatening.
Right.
But like it's not a way you can fire it.
So can you roll a straight dexterity? Charles, you get dexterity plus 50 because you were readied with the gun.
Okay.
Yeah. Evelyn, you get your dexterity. I assume. Will you work? I wasn't. I should have asked you.
Don't think
I
so. Yeah.
I've 100% got the gun pointed at someone. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So
I for the record, I wasn't intending to fire. If that makes a difference to my roll. I am going to spend the 6 luck to make it a pass, though.
Okay, so this is more.
If I got plus 50 to that,
so you would have been
put
over
125.
Indeed.
I don't know if that does anything.
So you've got a 66, which is currently the highest success. Then we've got a success straight from Evelyn. What are you doing, Obi?
Me?
You're spending the 3.
I rolled 66.
Oh,
so
I
I
put it wrong way.
spend 6 to take it to a 60.
Do I get plus 50 for the gun as well, or?
Oh fuck! I've read it the wrong way. Sorry. So you got 66. Charles, yeah. So Obadiah moves up because of that. Charles passed under that. Are you spending any dex, Evelyn? Luck.
Do I need it?
Well, not necessarily. It's just
So, does the plus 50 for having the gun ready do anything?
Yeah, of course it would. Yeah, so you would pass, but your pass isn't better than Charles's, and then I just need to do their reactions.
Can I choose to gain luck and make it worse?
We could try that one day.
That would be really interesting. Now, well, I want to make it a little bit worse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need 35 points, so I'm going to go for 34. 37. Just gain 2 luck.
Sorry, bear me a second. They put some in the text and some at the back.
It's alright. I mean, this Damien guy is going to die instantly, right?
I'd hope so. I've just shot him in the eye.
Dexterity, so he gets a... 49, which goes above Charles.
Damien and the Farmhands. Sounds like a really shitty fucking 19s.
Yeah.
Welcome to our
it's a hipster folk band. What you on about?
Right. So, even at the slight twitch before you pull the trigger, Charles, Obadiah is quicker to react than you are. Seeing that your body tenses, he knows something's up. What do you do, Obi?
Greg, did you roll for the old man? Sorry. He's just not in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jarvie.
Jarvie.
Good shout, good shout, good shout.
Sorry, Joe.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Oh,
the old man is old.
saying that, he still passed. Because he had a shotgun ready.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Does
he just go right at the top?
Level 20 character, man. Don't try shooting.
Okay, so immediately, as he almost can feel the tension in the air.
It's preternatural reflexes
Yeah.
of this 80-odd-year-old man.
What the fuck is this? Right.
Call of Scooby-Doo.
Oh god. Where's the bloody thing for him? Right. Okay. So he fires his shotgun into the back of the two farmhands, trying to spray them both.
What a god.
He eviscerated them.
Which he hits. Fuck me.
This is where we don't shoot them at all.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, and we were worried about him. The poor guy's just gonna kill everyone.
Just I know this is our first experience of Call of Cthulhu, but this isn't how it's meant to go. And sweet baby James. Right, so both of them immediately, as their torsos shoot out as the spray of blood and gore coats the porch, as the two farmhands just drop instantly to the floor, not even with a chance to turn around.
Oh, you've got to come out with Malcolm Jarvis one-liner now. You know, it's raining men, bitches.
But in the voice.
It's raining men, bitches. Obadiah.
Seeing that happen, Obadiah just drops to one knee and uses the ground and readies the rifle at the last standing man. Unsure whether or not he should be aiming at the Carmody or Mr. Jarvie, quite frankly.
He's the last standing man. I mean, I did shoot him in the head from point blank range.
You haven't shot him yet.
Not like we're talking milliseconds. Right. You haven't yet.
Right.
Right.
So you thought about doing it, and then Mr. Jarvie just went,
immediately as he saw you twitch, Jarvie just went. Sorry, Obi. I was too excited.
That's it. I dropped to one knee. I level the gun and I take aim.
Okay.
I don't think with a gun that size, with that kind of thing, he would be able to drop, aim, shoot like in an instant like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
No.
I agree.
No.
So Charles, would you like to pull the trigger?
Yeah, what do I need to roll?
So if you go on your character sheet, there is a weapon at the bottom section.
Yeah.
And
Is it,
it's,
am I rolling to hit or am I rolling to just see what damage it is?
just roll to hit, just in case you completely fumble.
Okay.
And the gun just jack.
Alright, that's alright.
Yeah, yeah. If you'd gotten like 100, which
Yeah.
is a natural,
It
like
doesn't-
a,
the
it's
gun
like a
doesn't
nat
go
1,
off.
then I would say
Yeah.
yeah, just out of chance. But yeah, so so it goes off, and almost at kind of the sound of the shot behind you, you have missed your aim ever so slightly, but thickly grazed the side of Damien Carmody's head, as you know, the bullet sort of tears through and lodges itself into the door frame, and he drops to one knee, sort of screaming out into the air. And along with the sounds of the shotgun blast, various birds and crows come up from the corn and scatter. Evelyn.
I'm gonna walk up to him, like as close as I can get, and then just unload the shotgun into him.
Okay. Both barrels or one barrel?
One barrel. No, I'm not taking any chances. One.
Nuke him from space. It's the only way to be sure.
I've never fired a shotgun before, so I don't think pulling the trigger twice is good. It's gonna be like bam, bam. So I think one straight in the face.
Okay. So, have you got anything of firearm shotgun?
Nope. I've never used one in my life.
Okay, so it will.
It'll still be the base firearms rifle shot R/S.
Yeah, so
roll,
you've got
right?
you'll have 20%, 25% in it. So
Yeah.
if you roll that first, and I'll tell you the.
And it's
Yes, like a pro.
Okay.
it's 4d6 damage.
Yeah. And what was left of the torso of Brandon as he's eviscerated on his own porch, barely a chance to get back up from his knee, and he slumps to the floor, clutching the multiple wounds as he very quickly bleeds out. And
Does Evelyn then shout out, several thin coats?
I need to take that skill.
and after the moment of
what miners?
No firearms.
oh yeah, you need to tick it because you will level up
Sorry,
on
I thought Joe's
firearms.
gone for a second.
Yeah. So after the shotgun blasts reverberate the sound, it goes deathly quiet, apart from the distinct noise of the vermin on the farm.
Can I take a good long look around? Because I assume, like, 1 second, if they're like, how do I do this? If they're basically here, like at the very porch on the thing, I'm probably like maybe here in the center because I was a good distance back, maybe a bit closer. Can I take a good look around to see if anything else is moving? Like anything else is coming out of the corn, anything else is coming, because I'm still like super paranoid about that corn.
Spot hidden, please.
Damn, son.
Told you I was paranoid about that corn. I wasn't even looking at the fight.
There's a considerable amount of movement as it was in the corn, but everything else on the farm is pretty quiet. Doesn't seem like there's anything else there. You can hear something muffled coming from like a little basement window in the porch, as you can see.
From the farmhouse.
Yeah.
I think reloading is a good idea.
Yeah.
Did he tell us that it was the root cellar, or did he just point at it with point towards the farmhouse?
Pointed towards the farmhouse.
Okay.
Could Obi and Evelyn roll a sanity roll, please? Because you've just seen two men drastically killed. Charles, you're quite used to this. Obi, can you do a D10, please? Oh, D10. Hold on, that might be a little bit harsh. Let me just double check, because I don't want you to go into an absolute insanity when you don't need to.
Charles, can you remember off the top of your head? You said there was 2 brothers, right?
There were 2 brothers. There were only supposed to be 2 people there. So the third one was just a farmhand who kind of collateral damaged himself.
A D8, please.
I think
Okay.
when this is done, we'll... Jesus Christ, Joe.
Okay. Yay. Right. I'll let you roll this one. Have I got on the right table? Yeah, roll 1d10. Okay. So, at the moment, as you're staring down the barrel of the elephant gun, trained on Damien, you see the essentially a splatter of gore and his stomach kind of open up as he's, falls to the floor, holding everything, and it's too much for you, and you faint, unknowing of just not used to such a level.
Okay.
All right.
Do I need to make a luck check to not set off the giant gun that I have my finger on the trigger of, or are we just good? We're just good.
I'll allow. No, I'm fine with that.
Okay. You guys are lucky. Just saying.
Nice.
It has an anti-fainting guard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So thank God.
So I'm guessing, right, what we would be doing if Obadiah's fainting, first of all, we're kind of looking around, or I will be looking around, checking that other people are okay. I'm guessing I'm talking to Mr. Garvey going, are you okay? Because obviously his gun's out, he's shot somebody. How does he look? Is he panicking? Is he not? Is he just kind of okay with it?
He's pale, and he hasn't lowered his gun.
Okay. Kind of reach out slowly from the side. I'm not facing the gun, and kind of push the barrel down a bit and say, Mr. Garvey, are you okay?
And he sort of looks at you for a second. He's like, he looks at you particularly, Charles. He's like, say, I don't know if they were gonna shoot.
I'd kind of look at him and trying to do that reassuring thing of, you did the right thing.
Roll a psychology, it's either psychology or psycho. No, this is one. Sorry, let me get.
I will go with psychology.
Psychology, yeah, that's what I want. And he doesn't look too reassured.
I kind of look at him and go, Mr. Garvey, why don't you go home? We've got this here.
No, I need to see this through. And you can see he's looking back and forth between you and the person he's just shot. The 2 people he's just shot.
Because he's that good. I'm gonna walk out to him and say, Mr. Jarvie, are you expecting more people than these 3, or you mentioned another brother? Is that one of them, or
no sign of Brandon here? No doubt he'll be along soon.
Okay. Is he more aggressive, or is he the I don't know, the main one out of the 2, or
equally as bad as each other?
Okay, that's fine then.
I'm kind of looking around at Obadiah, where are you? And kind of noticing that I'm not getting any type of response back. So I kind of turn around and head back towards where he was, and I'm guessing I would just find him on the floor unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my proper 1920s thing and just try and slap him awake.
Okay.
Because I'm guessing that's what we taught is the best thing to do with unconscious people.
Yeah. Just thinking, could you just roll a it'd be a con, Obadiah?
Yeah, of course I can.
It's a black con. So it takes a couple of slaps before he comes round. He doesn't wake up just on the first one, and your face is sore. And as you sort of come to, you can see Charles standing over you by the scruff of the neck.
It's like, I believe I missed the cue. I think, just for purposes of it, I'm fairly certain Obadiah would probably throw up whatever was in his stomach at that point in time.
Okay.
If there was anything, or just gag a wretch about it, and then like look at him and be like, Mr. Jarvie, he just gangland killed them fools. I don't even know what and Evelyn, what has happened? Are they all dead?
I just kind of, how would I respond to that? So, like, there won't be troubling us this evening.
I mean, I can see that from the splatter, Charles. I can see it from the splatter.
Hey, I'm a bit disconcerted because you've just thrown up on me. You know?
I mean,
you don't get a rainbow without rain.
I didn't expect to be killing nobody. The gun's just for show, really.
This guy's such a bitch.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to turn around at that point and go, well, actually, mate, you didn't kill anyone, you're okay. But, you know, I kind of reassure him, look, blood isn't on your hands, is how I would put it, rather than just, well, I believe that to good old Mr. Garvey there.
I mean, I saw him. He was before I could even react. He just blew them away.
Double kill. Kill atrocity.
I don't even. I need to sit down for a minute. I'd like pick myself up and I like pick up the gun and I like stumble over to the porch. Like, is there like an open? Is it an open porch?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just sit down on the top step for a second. And I literally just like look blankly at Mr. Jarvie, just like.
Okay.
I'm kind of at this point reloading my gun, going, Obadiah, pull yourself together. We've got something to finish.
I will. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment.
Greg.
I look straight at Mr. Jarvie and I'm like, I didn't need to shoot that ball, did I?
Greg,
No.
Can I go over to the body of Damien and pick up the shotgun that he had?
Okay.
And then search his body for ammo.
Okay. The shotgun was unloaded.
Unloaded?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. You've got lots and lots of ammo in your pocket.
Yeah. No,
your handbag. Sorry, your handbag.
Yeah. No, that's fine. It's
Okay. So
I'm not going. Can I, when I check to see if it's loaded, do it out of vision of Mr. Jarvie?
Yeah. He's in front of you.
Okay. I just want to make sure that he doesn't see that it was unloaded.
Okay. Yeah, you can conceal that easily enough.
And then I want to give the other shotgun to Obadiah.
Okay.
So that because I'm just gonna walk over to him and say it's probably best that you have the other shotgun. I don't think he'll be using that inside the house.
Sure.
I concur. Am I taking my shotgun back? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's yours.
Cool.
And then I'll obviously give you some of the ammo, because you'll need to refill it, and then I'll have to fill the what do you call it? The unloaded one discreetly.
Sure.
So the moment passes and kind of your stomach still doesn't feel right, Obadiah, but almost seconds later, Charles Nevlin, your stomach drops at the same time as something in the air doesn't feel right, and there's a buzzing and there's a loud sort of, almost like when you stand under electric pylons. There's a buzzing within the air, and it's loud, and it starts to get louder and louder, and it draws your attention towards the corn, and you can see the stiff swaying of the corn, which gets louder and louder. And along the floor, there are suddenly lots of black dots that sort of making their way towards you. And you can see that out of it, beetles and ants and spiders start to spread over the corn like a black tide, and they're moving towards you. As you look up, the entirety of the sky turns black as there's a layer of flying insects moving towards you, and they're heading directly for you.
I guess we go outside.
I'm not sticking around to be spiderized.
Okay. So I guess just thinking about in terms of, let me just roll. Okay. You manage to get inside as a cacophonous noise sort of comes out of the corn, larger than anything of the insects. But you run through the door, slamming the door behind you. No one unable to see as you usher Mr. Jarvie alongside with you. The insects themselves, you can hear them hitting against the window with a tink, 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 tink. And within 20, 30 seconds, you can see a few have made its way through the underside of the door and through any gaps in the windows as they're relentless.
Is there anything around that we can just start pushing under the doors and stuff to seal it?
Yeah, so you have gone into the main living room, and in the living room itself, you can see that everything is covered in mold and strange growths. It looks like the entire house itself has started growing again, sprouting small branches inside. All the fabrics and soft furnishings have been impregnated by mold. And as you go to sort of move, like rip a curtain down to put underneath, it's sticky against your hand, but you can sort of push it underneath, and it creates sort of like a small barrier, and just about fills the space in between.
Cool. Should we move that table and all the chairs and stuff in front of the door?
To the door. Yeah.
There's two doors, so we can put one of the chairs up against the door, and then maybe move the two chairs up against one and the table up against the other.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, that door's probably gonna hold longer than that window will. Maybe put the table up in front of the window.
There's two windows though, right? So
there's only one, isn't there? The other's
one
just
in front of the stove.
Yeah.
Is that a window as well?
So as you go up, that's a door. That's a large window.
Yeah. Is this a window as well here?
Yes. And a second door.
I don't think it's going to stop anything.
Right? What do we see around? I mean, does it sound like the thing in the corner, the big thing's getting closer to us? If it's a big stompy thing, would we hear, or is it a case of
we should be able to see it?
Now
right?
We're inside, or
or is it just a massive swarm of bugs? Because it was just a buzzing that we heard, right?
You heard a buzzing. There's not necessarily like a big stompy thing. And at the moment, predominantly your hearing is covered just by the zzz. You can't really make out a great deal because this is extremely loud. That's just the volume of insects that are there. Imagine sort of sticking your head next to a few honeycombs sort of thing. Within this house itself, I suppose, the stench of ripe decay is absolutely sickening and it's overpowering. You can see that there is a wood-burning stove with a few, I can't think of the exact name of the pan, skillets over the top of the pan, and there's some remnants and they have growths within them. There's dirty plates within the kitchen, and it looks as though that perhaps maybe they've been eating these.
Okay. Do you want to bother barricading, or should we just go down and try and find this mother crap? And
there's no down, dude. We need to go.
No, cellar.
Go up.
There's a cellar somewhere,
right? Yeah. Like we know that because we can see on the map there is a way down to the cellar outside. We can't.
Oh
see
yes, yeah. No, I get
Yeah,
what
sorry.
you mean. It's like a storm cellar, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's really hard to see with all these characters on that, like in front of the what do you call it? I assume there was another door or something.
You can zoom out on the top right-hand side, right?
Well, it's the outhouse as well, isn't there? So I'm guessing
yeah.
where we are, we're in here.
So
We can go upstairs, or we can go out of the outhouse, and that would take us.
there are no internal doors apart from there's a stairs up, and there's an exit to the back.
Yeah. Can we tell if the insects and the massive swarms at the back, is it surrounded the entire house?
It is starting to. It's not there yet. It's certainly at the front more than it is.
I mean, he didn't tell us there was a cellar. He pointed towards the farmhouse. So
You heard something from that window.
We heard people, yeah.
That low window.
We did hear something from the little window downstairs, didn't we?
Okay, well let's examine upstairs. Then, if there's nothing here, let's go upstairs and see what there is.
Yeah, you think that's the best case?
I think it's like the fastest thing we can do rather than going back and forth.
What happens if we get surrounded by insects and we can't?
We get eaten alive.
But like my point is, if the thing is downstairs in the cellar and we go upstairs and look at the TV or whatever for no reason,
I severely doubt this wooden shack has a TV.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, I do. No, I do. I totally do. And like the sensible thing is to go out, but I mean, fine. Let's do this. Why don't you quickly have a look out back for a way into the cellar, Evelyn? Take Mr. Jarvie just to make sure that you don't get swarmed. Charles, you and I quickly upstairs. Just a peek. If there's not much up there, we come back down and we see what we found.
Right. Okay.
Be quick.
Okay. I'll get Mr. Jarvie. I'll get Mr. Jarvie to kick down or to open the door. But I'll open the door. I'll get Mr. Jarvie to quickly have a look around because he's stronger than me. So if we do find the thing to the cellar, then I presume he'll be able to open it much faster than I will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
go upstairs and have a quick look.
Yeah.
Right, I'll do inside first. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So moving up the stairs, they are old, creaky stairs as you move up. It looks like a reasonably built house, and in front of you, you can see a door directly in front of you and one to your left. There's a window to your right outside, and you can see that a few bugs are starting to make their way up to the second floor, predominantly sort of wasps and insects like that, throwing themselves almost like in a kamikaze against the window, and they do make quite a tink as they hit them. These they have purpose.
I don't think we have time here to explore particularly too much. A door each quickly, just a peek in the room.
Absolutely. I'll go to the first door and I kick it open.
In front of you or to the left?
I'll just come up the steps, so whichever room is the closest one to me, so in front of me.
Straight in front. Okay.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, I'll open the one to the left.
Okay. Just for thematic, can you roll a strength check, Charles?
Yes, I can. I will fail it miserably and hurt my leg. Where am I? Strength. Oh, no, I'm not terrible. Yeah, I'm terrible.
Okay. So
it's not a fumble,
by one.
So charging up as this burly sort of World War hero, you immediately kick just above the handle, expecting the door to fly open as you're in a rushed panic, and the door reverberates, and suddenly you realise, actually, I'll just quickly open it. Now inside you see a massive smell of rotting flesh comes out, and on the bed you see a corpse of an older gentleman. The body's not only rotten, but it's been taken over by growths. It writhes gently as the growths expand and shifts. And I need a sanity roll.
This is going to be fun. Let's have a look.
Oh.
Yes! I don't care.
You've seen worse bodies. You've seen them burned by flamethrowers. This is nothing. It doesn't matter to you. And apart from the disgusting smell, you're okay. Now, simultaneously, as Obadiah swings open the door, you can see that there's a smaller bedroom with 2 beds. Only one of them shows any sign of recent use, with crumpled stained sheets. The other bed doesn't have a mattress on it, and there's nothing there. Apart from that, there's nothing really of any interest, apart from just there are a few flecks of black pus upon some of the items in there.
Sure, I just instantly close the door.
Okay.
Like I'm not even going to take a cursory, proper spot kind of glance around the room. I close the door.
Okay.
And I turn to Charles and I'm like, Charles, anything?
There's quite a lot of things in there, mate, but you don't want to see them.
And as you sort of close the door, just the airflow itself, you come back out and you just smell this disgusting, rotting flesh, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to see it.
Fair enough. If there's nothing in there, unless you want to go investigate, I'm going back downstairs.
I don't think we have time to investigate that because I'm guessing we're still hearing the flies pinging off the windows now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, right, we need to get to the. Do we know there's a cellar there? We need to get to Evelyn.
We need to go downstairs. Yeah.
So Evelyn, as you and Mr. Jarvie are running across the floor, you can hear downstairs there's this thud, 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 and almost a light ringing noise from downstairs. So you're going out the back door, are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna open the door for Mr. Jarvie after telling Mr. Jarvie what we're doing. Obviously, we're looking for the cellar, and I think it's better if he goes out first, finds it, and then opens it, because he's way stronger than I am.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna close the door behind us.
Okay. So he runs over to the to the cellar door, and you can hear him moving 2 heavily metal doors, and some chains crangling, and almost immediately you hear this smack, smack, smack of sort of wood on metal. Are you staying inside?
No, I'm out with him.
Okay.
I'm just
so you can
I'm
see
closing the door behind us.
So as he's opening, the two doors have chains wrapped between the handles between them and an old rusty padlock, and he's there smacking the padlock with his gun butt. So let me just do a strength check for him. Okay,
God
so
damn.
in a single one, he whacks it, and it just completely shatters open, and he starts unraveling the chains.
This man is a god.
Doors are bullshit.
As he swings open the 2 doors, there's a distinct musty smell that rises up to you.
Okay. That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna obviously point my gun down there behind. Whilst he was doing that, I'm gonna point the gun down so when he opens it up, we don't get any nasty surprises. Basically, how light is it down there?
Pitch black.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay. Okay. I think we just wait here until the other guys come out. Whilst I wait for them, can I can I look around and see what the hell's going on?
Okay. The insects themselves have started to move around, noticing that you are that way, and not only are they coming around the sides, they're coming over the top, almost like one big black swarm moving towards you.
Cool. How long have we got? Maybe till Charles and Obadiah have finished.
In the space of that, I'd say they probably made it down to the bottom, just as you have already opened up, if they were quick.
Cool. Basically just want to hold it open for them. I guess Mr. Jarvie and I will jump in, and I presume we can close it right behind us.
Yeah. So you're in.
So
is that what you're doing?
I'll point the shotgun into the pitch blackness. Oh wait, actually, Mr. Jarvie's probably better at shooting it than I am. So I'll get Mr. Jarvie to point the gun, and I'll keep an eye on the roof until these guys come in, so we can pull it down beneath.
Okay. So as you reach the bottom of the stairs, you notice that the door was wide open and the bugs are starting to swarm in. What do you do?
Obadiah immediately sees nobody in the room. The door's open.
I did close the door behind me.
You did. Oh, my apologies.
Sorry.
I mean, it was still Obadiah's plan.
You would have heard it.
So I would have heard the door close. Obadiah goes straight outside.
Okay. You can see Evelyn there holding open this storm cellar.
A good find, Evelyn. I say as I swat bugs away, like as much as I possibly can with like an elephant rifle. Just like, oh.
Why you take the elephant rifle, you dipshit? I give you a shotgun.
My shotgun's already back in my coat.
Oh, kill me. Anyway, get in.
I go in.
Charles?
Charles, get over here.
Yeah, I'm kind of behind him, pushing it on. Obviously, he's going to be a bit slowed down with everything he's carrying, so I'm literally pushing him into the hole.
Okay. So you get in, and immediately Evelyn closes the doors behind you, and immediately just darkness. All that is around you is the heavy breathing of one another, the sound of wasps and insects throwing themselves against this metal, the ting slightly different, and mustiness just fills your nasal cavities.
I pull my shirt up over my face.
Okay.
And if it's that dark, I propped the elephant rifle down at the edge of the stairs, if that makes sense. So like, it's not going to slide down, but it's like there, ready to like be taken as we leave.
Okay.
Now I pull out the shotgun.
Mr. Garvey smokes a pipe, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, and I have candles on me.
Yeah.
So I could ask him if he's got any matches. Mr. Garvey, do you have any matches that we can borrow to light some candles so we can see?
Yes. And he pulls out, not letting go of his shotgun, he pulls out of his shirt pocket one of those card packs of matches.
Box of matches, yeah.
But the ones which you flip open and you break the matches off and you strike. And he strikes two, which illuminates just enough that you can see just down the bottom of the stairs as he's holding two matches alight.
I didn't say how many candles I've got in my gear and possessions, but I don't know. What do you want, Greg?
Let's say two.
Okay. I'll take one myself because I'm shit at shooting a shotgun, and I'll light it off one of his things.
Okay. So the light gets slightly brighter, and you can now see maybe about a foot into just after the bottom step, and it is sort of like a concrete base. And you can't necessarily see anything, but the shadows are dancing around.
Okay. I'm guessing at this point we kind of explain what we saw in the house. I don't go into massively gory details about the father, other than, well, I'm saying father because it says father's bedroom. The man.
I don't know whoever's down there.
Yeah, well, yes, I'm guessing that I'm explaining about the sort of growths and everything else, and how the rot seems to be alive.
Charles,
Charles.
Now is not the time for that. Who is down there? Henry, is that you?
Right, Charles, get move on.
Charles, your friend is down there. Go find him.
At that point, I kind of take one of the lit candles and lead the way down the corridor.
Okay, what are the rest of you doing?
Pointing shotgun behind him.
Yeah, I look to Mr. Jarvie and I'm like, Mr. Jarvie, are you willing to guard the door, or do you want me to do it?
I can do it, boy. You go find your friend.
In which case, look after Old Faithful. And I walk down the stairs.
Okay, and he doesn't take it. He leaves it propped against.
Yeah.
Now, the second that Charles, your foot hits the bottom of the floor, you can see someone over in the corner. They are bandaged head to toe, and you can see them chained and gagged. And as you immediately see that kind of form of a male, the two doors behind swoosh open, and almost immediately a huge amount of these insects almost file in this big tornado tunnel as they come down, and you can hear Mr. Jarvie manly squealing as they start to swarm on him, and they are coming down the stairs as quick as possible. Can we roll for initiative again, please? Dexterity.
Are we plussing it for guns or?
I'm going to say no because you're not facing that way.
Cool.
Mr. Jarvie can have super initiative.
He just needs super initiative.
Mate, he's fucking How did your game go? Yeah, well, I won and I'm the GM.
Yeah, like, the party did nothing. All the NPCs saved the day. And by
Does
all,
rolling
I mean...
like extreme and hard values matter for this? Or is
No,
it
that
just-
would only be if like you were trying to dodge something. It's more just a straight dex. So of the insects, oh mate, okay, so they're going first regardless of whatever happens in this game, which makes sense. And then I need this geese to roll. Okay, so he got a 26. So we've got Charles has failed, so you're going last. Obi's got a 38.
I like that there's bigger thing. That's...
And Evelyn got a 24, which doesn't beat my bigger thing. Okay, so immediately the insects swarm Mr. Jarvie, and you can hear as they start to sting and bite him, and they are going to attack him twice. And he is okay. Okie doke. Obadiah.
I guess I turn to look back up the stairwell, and if there's nothing that he's guarding, I take 2 steps up, reach out with one hand, and pull him back in. If that makes sense, like trying to pull him back in and like to safety.
Sure. And he goes with you, and he's kind of swatting around, unable to aim his gun. And as you pull him down, there is a humanoid figure. As sort of the light shifts from Mr. Jarvie's silhouette, you can then see at the top of the storm cellar that there is another humanoid figure.
I guess my turn is probably just pulling him down rather than doing anything else, though.
Realistically, I think so. Yeah,
that's fine. I like if there's like a corner at the bottom of the stairs, I pull him down and round, if that makes sense, rather than just like.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
yeah.
right.
Okay. I just pull him. Yeah. Like so, I pull him kind of like this way.
Yeah,
so,
fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, sort of using the stairs as an actual shield sort of thing.
Yeah.
Are they pillars holding the?
Yeah. Okay, so the bigger thing starts to move its way down, and
Is that the humanoid figure at the top?
humanoid thing, yeah. And as he sort of takes steps down, he sort of moves his arm forward, and sort of the bugs just keep coming and keep coming. Okay, Evelyn.
I shoot the humanoid figure.
Yeah. Okay. So you turn
With
to face it. Now, from what you can see at this point, if I get the right page up, it's barely recognizable as a human itself. You can see barely from the light that this person is covered. He's large. He's brutish. He's covered in a mass of pustules, wounds, and root-like growths. On one hand, he has a claw, and on the other hand, he has a goat's hoof.
Yeah. So this is probably the other brother. That's where my mind streak goes to.
Okay. And you're taking a shot.
Yeah, because I believe in the power of love.
Power of lead. Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna spend some luck.
All right.
What do I need? 20 gets a 22.
22.
Spend 22.
Are you doing that to pass, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you managed to hit.
Oh, and the damage is what? Sorry.
That was one barrel, was it? 4d6. You will also need to make a sanity roll based on how hideous this thing is. 12.
Cool.
Okay. In a single shot, this head of this deformed figure takes a mound of shot, and you can see it clump to the floor and slide down towards you. And as it gets closer, it's more and more disgusting. But steeled in the face of it, you are comforted by the fact that it now looks dead, and almost immediately the insects stop buzzing around. But as it slides to the bottom, I suppose the two of you see it, and you'll also need to make sanity rolls.
Gonna go wins.
Joe's the end. Joe's not good at them. Jesus Christ.
Down I go again.
Okay, D6 for both of you.
No. D6.
I'll let you go first.
You do not go temporarily insane.
Hey.
Neither do you. You needed a 5.
Is 6 like temporarily insane? Oh, 5. Okay.
5, yeah.
That's what happens when you mess with the librarian, motherfuckers.
Yeah, boy.
Apple sauce, bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, immediately it drops. I suppose you can see Mr. Jarvis start to swell with the numerous sort of insects bites and stings, but he appears to be okay.
What happened
Are
to
you
the
okay,
insects?
Mr. Jarvis?
It's fine. Just all these bugs just like they knew what they were doing.
I kind of turned there because there's a guy in there that I'm guessing could be Henry.
Make a spot hidden roll, Charles, because this isn't to see if it's Henry. This is just to see something.
Yep.
Right. Well, what you notice on the side is that there is a prosthetic leg. Now you know from your time at war with Henry is that he lost a leg. This figure laying down has 2 legs.
Okay, I kind of still go up to the character and remove the bandage from its mouth.
Okay.
Just say, what? Do I recognise that person? Because I've been so frantic to get information and find out what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing would be just like, is it Henry? If
You
it's
would-
not, who are you?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So as you remove the bandages, you can see that sort of he has white sort of worm-like protuberances growing all over its flesh. And as you're closer, you can see leaking into the bandages are some black, putrid sap rather than blood. And just roll. I know this is going to suck because you've used lots, but roll a luck roll, please.
If I pass this, do I win?
You don't. Can you roll a? Can you roll?
3 luck.
Can you roll a con? This is what happens when you spend all your luck, man. Can you roll a con, please?
Thing is, if I didn't spend my luck on those other points, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I failed, but not by loads.
Okay. So I'm just having a look at your character sheet. Hold on. Okay. And I suppose. Can you roll? Oh God. Okay. So as you start to look at Charles, as sort of some of the sap goes onto his hands, that he's untaking this off, and he does reply. It is Henry. Henry. Other way around. Charles. It's me, and you can feel the sap sort of almost sort of burning onto your hands, and part of your flesh starts to feel sort of alien to yourself. It begins to split and ooze like some sort of rotten fruit. Can you roll 4d10?
I can attempt to.
Can you take that off your appearance? And can you roll 2d10?
So I'm taking 16 off my appearance.
And can you take that off your constitution?
Okay.
And then can you make a sanity roll?
Okay. Sanity roll. Appearance was 16, wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
Then
Constitution is 14.
So
Can you
29.
roll 1d10 and take that off your sanity?
Okay. Hang on 1 second. I'm just doing the
Don't
other
panic,
bits
don't
and pieces. So 1d10. Watch this be a 10.
Oh,
Very
it
nice.
was almost
And then can you roll a d6?
They just keep on rolling till I reach 0. Hang on 1 second. That's 41. No, that isn't. That isn't. Oh, that is 55. It's Constitution minus 40, isn't it? So that will be 26. I lost 2 points of sanity. That's 28. And what did you need me to roll?
A d6, please.
Oh,
Gain 4 Cthulhu mythos.
gribbly, gribbly.
As you look at him, his flesh starts to swell slightly. He appears uglier, disgusting, paler, not unlike the man that sits in front of him.
For how many points did I gain? 4?
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, interestingly, what's going through your head at this moment in time is that Henry had 2 legs. Henry has 2 legs. How can he have 2 legs?
Well, I guess my first thing would be Henry. How have you got 2 legs? That seriously would be the first question. If that's the thing going through my mind, that'd be the thing that comes out of my mouth, wouldn't it? You know,
Charles, you wouldn't believe it, but I think it grew back.
yeah. I can see what happened. What happened to you? What? How are you here? What? Why? Do you know what happened with Abigail? What's going on? What happened?
And he starts to tell you as saddened and we came here looking for the legend. We came here to find out about Ezekiel's Cade and how he was resurrected and how they used to live here. But what we found was a whole townsfolk worshipping something, and they wanted to sacrifice us, Charles. They wanted to sacrifice us all, and they took Abigail, and I only think it was a matter of days before I went too. And you can see he's really upset by this. He has no idea what's happened to his wife.
Okay. Who's the mother, Henry?
The mother's in all of us, Charles. The mother.
Okay.
Can I look around the room that we're in?
Yeah.
Henry, all of the townsfolk worship the mother.
And so, Evelyn, as you're sort of looking around, it's pretty much just there are some places where you might grow root veg. It's musty. All the veg is rotten, and there are just there's nothing really to it. It's kind of just an empty basement. And as you say that to him, Charles, he looks at you with deadly seriousness and he goes, "All of them."
All right, so we immediately turn around to what's his face, Mr. Harvey.
And he looks at you, and his gun is not raised. He looks at you in shock. And
Tell me about your mother, Malcolm.
she was a nice lady. She made his most delicious bread. He looks confused. He does not look threatening at all.
Okay. Do you not, like, Mr. Harvey, do you not hang around with or socialize with the people in town, or?
Don't live in no city center. I told you we don't go to that church no more.
Why not?
Dick Sprouston, he Been talking madness in them sermons. I told you all this when you first came here. Just lower your weapon, girl.
Oh, sorry, am I still pointing at you? Okay. That's instantly like I wasn't pointing at him. I was just more like being inquisitive about
And
like,
he's still nervous.
yeah.
He's still nervous, but he's the immediate, rabbit in headlights sort of calms as you lower the gun.
Right, I'm gonna go up to him and put my hand on his shoulder to emphasize the fact that I don't think it's him. I'm just interested in general, like.
And he kind of we need to go. We need to get him out. We need to go.
Yeah, that's a good point. So he's in chains.
Sort of manacles manacles, chains around his hands to one of the pillars.
Okay, how do we get it out? Do we? It's not gonna be an easy smash job for the Hulk, old man Hulk. Is there any obvious like keys or?
Roll of the luck, Evelyn.
Well, I have used all of it, so.
Oh, have you?
Do you want me to roll for luck?
No.
Oh, boom. So, within a short period of time, you managed to find out in just for the sake of brevity and sort of we're not in combat. Within the woodshed, you can see that they've obviously set up where some of the hired thugs would. There was the mattress from the brothers' room in there, but there is a pair of sort of big bolt cutters.
Oh, okay, cool. Where was this, sorry?
In the woodshed.
Okay, of course. Cool. I'll give that to Hulk Hogan and ask him to do it because he's a god.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, for the record, like this entire time, Obadiah hasn't moved from holding the shotgun literally towards the mutated man that's now on the floor.
Okay.
Like he's literally just holding the shotgun at it.
Do you notice this, Charles?
But he's holding the shotgun.
Not to Henry.
Oh, apologies.
To the dead guy.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
So no, I don't notice that. So Henry, Abigail's dead.
I felt that, Charles. I felt her go.
What have they done to you?
Weeks of torture and mutilation. They put me in the water, Charles.
Then what did you see?
I changed.
Changed how?
Grew a fucking leg back, pal. How else can I change?
Again, this is kind of a side note, but the reason why we're asking questions like that is more to do with my backstory and people disappearing and cults and everything else that way around. So I'm kind of like, you know why I'm asking this, Henry. I need to know what's beyond. I need to know these things.
I know. It's a religion, Charles. It's there's something to it. Surely you know the mother. We all know the mother.
Oh man, I'm so tempted to shoot him.
He's
From across the room, Obadiah is still pointing the shotgun at the thing on the floor. Is just like, I believe we may have blown up the mother.
That's not the mother.
You don't think that's the mother?
Yeah, I think that's the
mother.
I think that's the corrupted brother.
He looks at you and he's not.
Oh no! In the cave, we blew her up.
Ah.
Like Obadiah means like the thing in the cave. Was it you, Henry? That took all that dynamite up to the cave.
We were trying to seal it.
We took it further in. Whatever was in there They took a load of dynamite to its face.
I have to see it for myself.
That may be difficult. The cave did seem to fall and cave in on itself as we ran away.
I have to see her. It doesn't matter, cave in or cave not. I will.
Henry, there's nothing left.
And he's forceful. He's irrational. He continues just to repeat again and again.
Are you
I
one
will
enough
go.
to
I have to
carry you
go.
up there?
I can walk. At this point, have you bolt cut the chains off?
Probably not.
No? Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna do it until Charles is happy, because Charles is, like, I presume, directly in front of him, questioning him.
Yeah, I turn to you and nod. As
What to
in,
do?
you know, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll hand them over to Hulk Hogan and let him do it.
Okay. So Mr. Jarvie, not uncommon to a tool. Exactly.
Whoa.
Just ka-chunk, and in it, these are reasonably sort of a centimeter sort of thick, and he just does it in a single go. And he unloops the chain and takes it off, and then quickly steps back after seeing what had happened to Charles.
Nice.
Gentlemen, we need to get out of here.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get there. I think, Henry,
Well, look, yeah.
it'd be best for you to walk forwards first, in case we all get hit by whatever it is that's on you.
Okay, so Henry...
And then I'm gonna have my shotgun at hand and be watching him.
Okay.
Because unlike Charles, I don't know. All I can see is a dude that's covered in black sticky shit talking about mother. So
sure. And he gets up the stairs. There's no issue. But as he gets to the top, you can see he's starting to make his way further north of the northest point of the farm. Bear in mind that the farmhouse is the north point of the farm.
yeah.
So was there corn between here and the fence?
A fair bit.
Yeah. Just Henry, don't go into that corn. It's really bad.
And he doesn't really hear you. He's kind of stumbling. Obviously he's been down there for a long time. He's reasonably weak, but he's kind of just carrying on northward.
Henry, where are you going?
I have to see it, Charles. I have to see it for my own eyes.
Is there anything on his legs? Like, is he just goo all over?
It's predominantly kind of a mixture of bandages, tattered sort of exploring sort of khakis, it's not that he's head to toe in goo. It's like there are wounds that are leaking.
Okay. We can't really hit him and drag him.
No.
Because lifting him is going to do horrific things to all of us. So I guess we kind of just have to follow him.
If we does it look like there's still stuff in the corn moving? Is the corn still gross? Is it?
It's still gross. It's still swaying in the wind, but there's an air of quiet.
Can I go back round to where the two brothers were like full on ganglanded?
The farmhands or the
the farmhands.
Yeah.
And like you said one of them picked up like other tools.
Yeah.
Can I pick up? I've obviously not picked up the elephant gun. I left that where it was. I will come back for it if I can. Go back round, grab like the pitchfork and a sickle, maybe if there's a sickle.
Okay.
And literally just like with them like wielding. So I use the pitchfork and then like slice, and then like use the pitchfork and slice to like avoid getting anywhere near the corn and just cut myself a really slow path and a path for the others.
To which direction?
like I guess after him.
Okay. I
try to not pitchfork him in the back as I'm doing it.
Okay. Once he's in the corner, he starts to pick up some speed as he starts to jog.
I mean, he's not going anywhere, right? He'll get to the fucking cave and then he won't be able to get in, so...
I mean,
it doesn't matter how slow we take it.
Obadiah is like, everything so far in this town has like been horrific, but the one thing that brought him really close to death other than explosives was plants, and he's just gonna keep cutting it down. Like, you guys, he's like, you guys go on if you want to, but I am not getting close enough to these plants for them to do anything to me.
Why don't you take Mr. Jarvie home?
It takes just a matter of seconds for you to lose sight of Henry.
Fine, I'll take Mr. Jarvie home.
Can I just say, ladies and gentlemen, that we know where he's going, so why don't we go the way where we don't have to go through the cornfield?
Because it's going to take so long. It took us an hour and a half to
walk here.
To walk back from the cave. So we'd have to walk probably back, which would probably be around an hour and a half, and then an hour and a half up.
Like, if you want to see him at that cave, you probably have to run through the corn after him.
I mean, if you take Mr. Jarvie home and then take your gun back and stuff, then you can get the car ready or whatever. And then me and Charles can go after what's-his-face and make sure whatever happens.
Fine, I will do that.
I guess we're going through the corn after him then.
I like proffer my shotgun to you, Charles. Like, do you want
to take it gratefully?
Yeah, and Evelyn already has like all of the shells, so.
Okay. So as we're coming up to 11 o'clock, or past 11 o'clock, what I will do is fast forward a little bit. So, you are unable to follow Henry. Even when you get to the cave, you're unsure entirely where he's gone. You manage to take Mr. Jarvie back to Edith, and she's eternally grateful that you were able to bring her back. And upon nightfall, Charles and Evelyn return empty-handed, only with the memory that they have once seen Henry. The Jarvies allow you some time to stay, to recover, and to think what has happened. But they themselves also want to get out of town as fast as possible at this point. They are unkeen and unhappy with what has happened. I realise I'm going to an epilogue now, so this could be it, guys.
Obadiah obviously offers them transport out of town.
Sure.
With everybody. Like, it'll be a tight squeeze in the car, but we can do it.
Sure. And it gets to a point early in the morning where there are a considerable amount of townsfolk starting to gather outside, and you can see them getting on their way up to the Jarvie farm, and rushed and hurriedly you manage to pack the bare essentials, get everyone in the car uncomfortably, and as you speed out of town, start to make your way back to town, back to the university, which takes a long drive, and you leave feeling as though you never want to return again. Throughout the coming years, how does Obadiah spend his time?
Sequestered. Like, he's still tutoring at the university. He's still lecturing at the university.
Okay.
Still engineering, still physics, still the concept of creating new cars and things. But as soon as he's done with his very unenthused requirement to see other people, he spends the rest of his time back at the Goad residence outside Arkham, and he spends his time looking after his brother, who probably still doesn't recover. But okay. He never engages with him any more than he has to.
Okay. Over the years, I suppose your mental health wavers in periods. There are feelings of dissociation. You're not necessarily always quite with it, as the trauma of seeing such deaths come back to you. But you manage to live a reasonable life. But I suppose you always have that knowledge that perhaps there's something else out there that we don't quite fully understand.
Yeah. He definitely builds bigger gates and bigger walls around the residence.
Okay. Evelyn, how does Evelyn move on from this?
So she came out of it pretty sane, despite everything. Like, she's still got extremely high sanity levels, so I think she's probably more likely to come back and want to know more. So I think she probably turns into Charles in some way.
Okay.
But using probably just fascination with books.
Yeah.
And she's also quite sure of herself a bit more now. Like, if she was a bit maybe seeing herself as maybe a bit weak and girly after coming out of it, having murdered a big nasty dude with a claw and a goat's arm and shooting a guy in the face, I think she'll probably be a bit more sure of herself.
And there's an air of confidence about her, and it's something that she never really speaks beyond in her writings to Charles and her talks to Obadiah. And a couple of years later, both parents unfortunately pass of natural health conditions, and Obadiah escorts you to your doctorate in microbiology as you become the first female professor in this field at the university. It's a very proud day for her. Charles?
I think that Charles has come away from this less than unscathed. His mental fortitude and everything else is going all over the place. But the biggest thing that he's got is that the things that he believed in and the things that kind of has driven him around his wife and child disappearing, around the cult activity, this has validated everything that he's ever thought. So he throws himself into his work a lot more. He becomes obsessed with the mother. He becomes obsessed with the town. And who knows, towards the end of his days, maybe he goes back to that town.
Okay. So throughout the next few years, the obsession takes a hold. You are still grotesquely plump. Your skin every now and again will split from the swelling. And as a result, you have to wear kind of big coats and, hats that cover most of your face and scarves. And you put so much into trying not to remember what happened that alcoholism takes a hold. And in the 6th year post visiting Blackwater, you are kind of living on the streets and in not great shape. You haven't seen McTavish since you've returned, although eternally grateful to all of you for being able to give some sort of closure. Not that he necessarily believes everything that happened, but certainly Charles has not come unscathed from this in a psychological sense. And that, my fellows, was Blackwater Creek. Ta-da!
That was good.